There's a moment between the breaking and the becoming, a space where healing lives, where clarity emerges, where we remember who we are beneath the fear, the pain, the noise. That space, that's the pause. And today, I want to show you how to find it, even in the middle of your busiest, hardest, most overwhelming days. Welcome to the Conscious Pause, a space where we slow down, turn inward, and explore the landscape within with curiosity and compassion. This podcast is your invitation to step out of the rush of everyday life and reconnect with yourself. Together, we explore what it means to heal, to grow, and to live with intention through mindfulness, reflection, and real conversation. Let's take a deep breath together. And begin. On the surface, a pause may seem simple, but as we'll discover today, it actually holds great power. A pause is intentional stillness that allows us to hear ourselves again. And in a world that celebrates being busy, glorifies side hustles, and measures worth by productivity, pausing can feel inconvenient, difficult, uncomfortable, maybe even impossible. But here's what I've learned. The pause is where healing lives. It's where clarity emerges, and it's where we remember who we are beneath all the noise. So today, we're diving deep into the power of the pause, what it really means, what science tells us about stillness, and most importantly, how we can cultivate this practice in our own lives. So what does it mean to actually pause? A pause is an intentional, conscious choice to create space. It's an act of self-awareness and strength that allows us to move forward with clarity. Think about music for a moment. A rest in a musical piece isn't a mistake or an absence of music. It's part of the composition. It creates rhythm, builds anticipation, and allows the notes around it to resonate more fully. Without the pause, there's only noise. The same is true in our lives. A mindful pause may look like taking 3 deep breaths before responding to a difficult email, sitting in your car for a minute before walking into your home after work, putting your phone down and just being for 5 minutes, saying, "Let me think about that," instead of giving an immediate yes or no answer. These aren't imposing gestures that require a major time commitment like a week-long retreat or an expensive wellness program or even a major life overhaul. They're moments you can add into any day. And here's what's beautiful. In those pauses, we can move from reaction to response, from autopilot to awareness, and from overwhelm to focus. The pause is an act of self-compassion. It's saying to yourself, you matter, your peace matters, and it's okay to take a moment for yourself when you need it. Now, this might sound like abstract, feel-good, woo-woo advice, right? Just pause, just be still. But here's where it gets really interesting. There's actual science behind why this works. Let me take you into what's happening in the body and brain when we intentionally pause. First, let's talk about the nervous system. You've most likely heard about the fight or flight response. That's your sympathetic nervous system, which kicks in when you're stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed. Your heart rate increases, your breathing gets shallow, and cortisol floods your system. You're essentially in survival mode. Now, most of us are living in this state far more than we realize. The constant notifications, the back-to-back meetings, the mental to-do lists, the scrolling. Our nervous systems are interpreting all of this as low-level threats. So when we pause, when we intentionally slow down and create stillness, we activate what's called the parasympathetic nervous system. This is your rest and digest mode. Your heart rate slows, your breathing deepens, your body literally begins to heal and restore itself. Studies using brain imaging have shown that practices involving stillness, like meditation, mindful breathing, even just sitting quietly, actually change the structure of the brain. They increase gray matter in areas associated with emotional regulation, self-awareness, and compassion, and they decrease activity in the amygdala, which is your brain's fear and anxiety center. A study by Dr. Zara Lazar and her team at Massachusetts General Hospital found 8 weeks of mindfulness-based stress reduction led to measurable changes in brain regions. Participants showed increased gray matter concentration in the hippocampus, which is crucial for learning and memory, and in areas associated with self-awareness and compassion. At the same time, they saw decreased gray matter density in the amygdala, which correlates with reduced stress levels. Another intriguing study found even brief moments of stillness have immediate effects. This study was conducted by Dr. Herbert Benson at Harvard Medical School, and it showed taking a few minutes to pause and breathe consciously can lower blood pressure, reduce stress hormones like cortisol, and improve mental clarity in real time. He calls this the relaxation response. When we're constantly in motion, constantly distracted, our brain doesn't have time to process and consolidate information. Have you ever noticed that your best ideas come in the shower or on a walk? That's not a coincidence. The pause gives your brain permission to do what it does best, not force solutions, but discover them. When your brain isn't actively focused on tasks, it enters what neuroscientists call the default mode network. This is when your brain does its background processing, making connections, solving problems, generating insights. So when you feel guilty for taking a pause, when that voice says, I should be doing something productive, remember this: the pause is productive, it's restorative, it's essential. Your nervous system knows this, even when your mind resists it. Okay, you've heard the science, you've heard my story in episode 1. Now, how do you actually do this? How do you bring the pause into your busy, stressful life? And you might be thinking, I don't have 10 minutes. My life is too hectic. I can barely breathe as it is. So I'm going to share several approaches, and I want you to try them and notice which ones resonate with you. Not all of them will work for everyone, and that's okay. The invitation is to experiment and discover what creates space for you. Some take 60 seconds, some take 10 minutes. You can choose what fits your life in this moment. We can start with what's called the breath anchor. This is the most accessible pause practice for those comfortable focusing on their breath, because no matter where you are or what time it is, you can return to your breath. This technique is called 4-7-8 breathing. So you would breathe in through your nose for a count of 4, hold that breath for a count of 7, and then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 8. Let's give it a try. Breathe in through your nose, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale slowly, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do this 3 times, and you've just given your nervous system a reset. You can do this before a difficult conversation, in the middle of a stressful day, or when you notice anxiety creeping in. The breath is always with you. It's like your own built-in pause button. Another option is to create intentional micro pauses. So with this, you would set 3 alarms on your phone throughout your day, perhaps at 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and maybe 6 p.m., or whatever works for you. When the alarm goes off, stop whatever you're doing for just 60 seconds. Close your eyes if you can. Feel your feet on the ground. notice your breath, and ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? What do I need? These micropauses create space for awareness throughout your day. You're going to be on your phone anyway. Ding, ding, it's your awareness calling. Another great option for pausing is a transition ritual. So this is where you create intentional pauses during transitions in your day. Before you start work, take 3 deep breaths. Before you walk into your home after being out, maybe sit in your vehicle for a minute. And before bed, try sitting quietly for 5 minutes. Let your brain process the day. These transition pauses help you show up more fully for what's next, rather than carrying the energy of one thing into another. An option that I found very helpful has been journaling. So this is for those who process through writing. You can keep a small notebook, writing on paper versus in your phone, and use it specifically for pause moments. Or you can have a gratitude journal. You can have just a daily journal. It's something for you to get your thoughts out on paper. So when you feel overwhelmed, anxious, or stuck, pause and write. Not to problem solve or to figure anything out, and it's not a to-do list, but it's to empty what's in your head onto paper. Some prompts you could try are, right now I'm feeling ... What I really need is ... If I weren't afraid, I would ... No one else will see this. It's just you, the page, and the pause between what you're experiencing and what you do next. Another great exercise that I think we could all benefit from is to pause before saying yes. This pause practice might be the hardest, but it's powerful. Practice saying, let me get back to you, instead of giving an immediate yes when someone asks something of you. Your time, your energy, your resources. Pause before responding. Even if it's, that sounds great. Can I check my calendar and get back to you tomorrow? This pause gives you space to check in with yourself. Do I actually want to do this? Do I have the availability? Is this aligned with my priorities? So many of us give from depletion because we don't pause before saying yes. Okay, the final exercise, which again I think most people can benefit from, is to have a daily sit practice, and not necessarily a meditation sit practice. This is a stillness practice. So for 5 to 10 minutes, you sit and do nothing. You're not meditating with any goals. You're not doing any breathing exercises. You're sitting, you're existing, and you're allowing whatever arises to arise. This might feel uncomfortable at first. Your mind will protest. You'll think of 17 things you should be doing instead. That's okay. It's natural. But if you can stay with it, even for a few minutes a day, something eventually shifts. You begin to befriend yourself. You develop a relationship with your own presence. Remember, these practices aren't about perfection. They're about creating tiny pockets of space in your life where you can hear yourself think, feel yourself feel, and remember who you are beneath all the noise. Start with one and notice what happens. If you'd like a guided meditation focused on the pause, there's one in the episode list right after this episode. Now, before you move back into your day, I invite you to set one small intention. Where will you create a pause today? Maybe it's before you check your phone. Maybe it's before you respond to an email. Maybe it's in the space between tasks. One moment of choosing presence over momentum. Thank you for listening, for being present, and your willingness to explore what it means to slow down in a time where it feels like someone hit the fast forward button. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, and remember, The pause is where your power lives.